Governor Josh Stein's spokeswoman says he's busy working to figure out how to mitigate a potential $200 million FEMA financial deficit. Friday, his office getting this FEMA rejection letter. It's been determined the increased level of funding you've requested is not warranted. Your request is denied. News 13 has reached out to Republican Senators Tom Tillis and Ted Budd multiple times asking for their reaction, but got no response.
I mean, not that you should be surprised in any way, shape, or form. FEMA is going to be going out anyways, but Trump just denied North Carolina's request for additional FEMA relief from the hurricane. He's never cared about his base. He's never cared about voters. He's never cared about anything but himself. And this is just additional substantiation for anybody who doubts that. Do you get it yet here, MAGA? Is it starting to seep in here?
See, as you can see, the more you around, the more you're going to find out.
Over the weekend, residents of North Carolina who were impacted by Hurricane Helene got a denial of benefits from the government. You heard that correctly. Unlike his predecessor, Joe Biden, FEMA under Donald Trump has denied North Carolina's Hurricane Helene relief match dollars. Normally, the federal government will match 100% of the cost of hurricane relief to a state budget, just like President Joe Biden had promised Hurricane Helene victims in the state of North Carolina. Over the weekend, the governor of that state shared a letter he received from the federal government, citing that the government did not see it warranted to match the relief dollars for the residents of North Carolina. This now will continue to delay the relief and recovery for Western North Carolina. And of course, FEMA did not reply for any questioning. Oh, look, and hurricane season is right around the corner. Again, when most of us still haven't recovered from the last one.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Residents in the state of North Carolina are having their FAFO moment, brought to you by Donald Trump. As background, North Carolina voted for Donald Trump in the 2024 election. In the middle of Donald Trump's campaign, Hurricane Milton hit, and it impacted Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. During those hurricanes, Donald Trump was spreading misinformation about FEMA's response in North Carolina. Donald Trump's misinformation about the hurricanes in North Carolina got so bad that FEMA had to create a special section of its website for misinformation. They also had to pull some workers out of areas because they were getting threatened by MAGA. Fast forward to this week, and Donald Trump has denied North Carolina's request for additional aid and support through FEMA. After winning the state of North Carolina, his response is that additional aid is not warranted. FAFO.
And since I'm on a roll, let's talk about how North Carolina got denied access FEMA relief. The fact that the governor had to sit here and ask for FEMA relief because the state needs it, the people need it, and Trump still denied it because Trump doesn't care. He never cared. He said whatever he needed to do to make the people of North Carolina to believe that the Biden administration had to sit here and gave all their FEMA money to illegal immigrants, and you guys believed it, while also denying help from FEMA when they went to North Carolina. Then you made fun of Kamala Harris for stating that $750 was just the first payment just for anybody to get access to formula, pads, clothing, etc. ASAP. Okay, and FEMA was coming. And you guys still made fun of it. You guys still asked her, where's my $750? Okay, and now you guys are left with nothing. On top of the fact, I don't even think you guys even realize that there's been a recall on the election that you guys are having on the Supreme Court in North Carolina. And 60,000 votes having to be recounted because a MAGA cannot take the hint that he lost to 700 and something points to a Democrat. 2 times have they had to do a recount, and I don't even think you guys even know that. This needs to be talked about more. I really don't see a lot of people talking about this. I don't see that this is getting out in the media because they don't want you to know. So when you guys are sitting here and saying that Democrats don't do anything, let me ask you the question, what has this administration done to help you? Because it's starting to seem like the people who are extremely conservative benefit better under Democrat policies. And you always have. Kind of sucks.
Hey, so to anyone who was outraged around election time about FEMA not doing enough during natural disasters, any thoughts on the Trump administration straight up denying aid to states in need? No? Oh, all right then. So last week, the Trump administration officially denied Washington state's request for $34 million in federal disaster relief following a deadly bomb cyclone in November 2024. The storm killed at least 2 people and damaged homes, businesses, and public infrastructure. Despite meeting the criteria for federal aid, the request was rejected without a clear reason. And this ain't the first time either. Just days ago, North Carolina was informed it would no longer be fully reimbursed for Hurricane Helene recovery efforts. The state's Democratic governor plans to appeal, calling the decision a setback for long-term recovery efforts. Meanwhile, Asheville officials previously faced pressure to strip minority and women-owned business support from their recovery plans in exchange for federal funds. None of this is surprising either. Just the president doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Trump has openly threatened to withhold disaster aid from states like California unless they adopted restrictive voting laws. He even floated the idea of shutting down FEMA altogether. And in the midst of all these denials, communities in Washington, North Carolina, and other states are left waiting for much-needed support from the federal government that probably just won't arrive, politicizing disaster relief delays, recovery, and punishes residents who are already struggling to rebuild.
Those folks in North Carolina are figuring it out, aren't they? And not in a good way. You see, something just happened in North Carolina, and the governor himself is not happy about it. So Trump is denying FEMA aid extension in North Carolina for the recovery from Hurricane Helene. Now, a lot of people in North Carolina were mad, said that Biden didn't do anything from them, said he just gave them $750. But we know that that's not true. That was just emergency money that made sure people could do things like get in a hotel, buy food, get medicine if they needed it. It was money in their pocket that they could get right away. So let me read this to you. After the storm hit in September, Joe Biden approved a federal disaster declaration for North Carolina, which made federal funding available to help the state recover with a federal cost share of 75%. So the government's going to pick up 75%, state picks up the rest. Biden amended the declaration in early October to cover individual assistance and public assistance in designated counties, as well as the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program statewide, and increased the federal cost share to 100% for the first 180 days after the storm. All right? So that kind of puts it in January or February timeframe, right? So they were doing all of this while the Trump administration and other critics in Congress, they were criticizing the administration's response to the hurricane, claiming that they were too slow to release funds and things like that. So now Donald Trump comes along, and he is basically, it says 6 months later, North Carolina Governor Josh Stein revealed that the Trump administration denied their request for a FEMA aid extension, saying that it was, quote, not warranted. And this is a quote from Josh Stein. He says, "Today I learned that FEMA refused our request to extend the 100% reimbursement period for another 180 days. I got this news while I was in Newland with families who lost their homes in the storm." So, Biden didn't do enough. 75% federal cost share increased to 100, emergency funds right away. Trump said that they didn't do enough. Congress people said they didn't do enough. Just conservatives said Biden was asleep on the job. But see, Trump's not asleep. But he comes in and he denies them just an extension to make claims for that money. And you voted for him. A lot of this happened in red counties. These are, quote unquote, Trump's people. But what you don't understand is you were never his people. You see, I always said, I was talking to my wife about this earlier, I could imagine Barack Obama going to North Carolina after Helene, going in somebody's house, listening to their story, giving them a hug. Can you imagine Trump doing that? Nope, not me. Can't imagine it at all. You see, the one thing Donald Trump wanted from you was your vote. And now he already has that. So you're of no use to him. He's a transactional man. Even as president, he's incredibly transactional. You have nothing to offer him anymore. Therefore, you're not a priority. So you voted for him because you believed he would take care of you. You believed that Biden didn't. Even though he went ahead and signed legislation that allowed the federal government to pick up 100% of the tab. And all your governor was looking for was an extension so you could file claims for that money. Trump said no. And you voted for him. So it's unfortunate that you kind of find these things out when things are really important, right? Because these families, regardless of whether they filed the claims or not on time, whatever you want to call it, they need that money. And they deserve to get help from the federal government. And it sounds like they're not going to get that help now. And I feel bad for them. But this is what you voted for. Unfortunately, what you voted for didn't get you what you wanted.
Players. So I'm out here doing a photo session, and I'm waiting on the young man to change clothes, to change to his next outfit. And I just read that Frumpy Dump's FEMA denied North Carolina's request to extend the deadline to file an application for disaster relief after Hurricane Helene. Do y'all remember when Frumpy Dump was running for president and he took his ass down there to North Carolina, staged a photo op blaming the Biden administration, decreeing and declaring that they were failing the people, that it was political bias, they don't want to help because they voted for him and all kind of stuff. They ate that shit up, the people of North Carolina. It was sad. Like, you remember the $700 debacle and all of that? And now he has literally denied them people an extension. When you're saying your stance was that they were treated unfairly and that they didn't get a timely response, and your deal is to deny them people an extension. Make it make sense, because it doesn't. North Carolina, how do you feel after being used not once, not twice, but 3 times by Frumpy Dump? He made a fool out of you again, and you fell for it, and you're still falling for it. Make it make sense, because it doesn't.